So first of all, welcome to Dresden. So recently you presented the new album in Life in New Light. Sorry. How did you find your own way to the new light?
Oh, slowly. It took a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of internal analysis. A few crises on the way, a lot of sleepless nights and some clinical depression in the middle. But it took about three or 4 years of, I like to call it now, breakthrough, to get to a point of a more stable point of peace with myself, which is where I am now. And this album is basically a symbol of that change in my life.
And how did you and Kat von D come upon the idea of creative collaboration?
Kat was she was posting videos online of herself doing strange things in slow motion to IAMX music, and I realized I'm not very I don't go on social media that often. Now and again I do for the project, but it's not something that it makes me anxious, so I try not to do it very often. But somebody showed me that Kat was supporting the music. She loved the music. So I thought it could be a really interesting idea of bringing us together and bringing her out of her huge sort of famous fashion iconic world and putting her into IAMX, which seems to be a very different world. But she's so comfortable in that world. I think she feels very good. She understands the music, she understands the message very, very deeply. So it was very easy. I realized that she could play classical piano, which was really nice. Her voice was lovely, very complimentary, very low, very smoky, which was a nice contrast to my high, kind of squeaky, weird voice. And so I wrote Stalker with her in mind, and she loved it. And then we did a few more tracks on the album in addition to that duet.
All right, and what is your message as an artist?
Ooh. You know, any artist that says they know what their message is, I don't believe them. That creativity is a constant search for the message. So if you think you know what it is that you're saying all the time, then I think you've already found what you're looking for. I haven't, so I have a constant search. I know that there's a deep need to connect and also to help people in terms of possibly opening people's minds to certain ways of thinking about the world, to thinking about themselves, of self-awareness, of human behavior. IAMX is it's basically a psychological journey. It is a way of it is psychoanalysis, and I think that's my contribution to music. Maybe is a very private, intimate way of looking at the self. Yeah.
How do you describe your feelings when you step on the stage at the beginning of the show and take a first look at the audience?
What I usually do, it can be quite overwhelming. So I try to not look too much at first. It's usually a few songs later where I start to look around. I'll focus on on the breathing, on my vocal, on the performance for the first 2 songs, and I'll start to open up after that.
So, and are there any differences between your stage image and your real self?
Yeah, I mean there are differences in the sense that I don't do it all day every day, but I am. It is a big part of me. The theatrical part of me is very deep, and it's always been there. You know, I've always loved the idea of dressing up and escapism through theatre and drama, and so it's not something you can sustain every day, but it's definitely, I need it as a part of this project. I need it as the visual, the imagery, the stage performance it helps me to enjoy the project.
You had lived in Germany, namely in Berlin, for several years. Is there something you missed about being in Berlin?
Yes, some of the food I miss. Some of the cafes, the dark, sexy, candlelit cafes at night. A little bit of the snowy weather, not too much, but I do. I live in California at the moment, so it's a very, very different climate. But I do not miss the prolonged winters and the dark days, and it's not. I definitely don't miss that side of things. I miss a few people as well that I had good times with in Berlin.
As far as I know, now you're living in Los Angeles, yeah? And what are the main differences between German and American ways of life?
America is chaos. You know, Germany is a lot more structured and in a way quite bureaucratic. I think that I didn't really fit with that. There is still this sort of Wild West feeling in America that I do love. It means that things are quite complicated sometimes, and there is strange political things happening, and there is so much of everything, and it is just very explosive as a culture, but within that, I think you can really find your own niche more so than I could in Germany, actually. So I actually love the attitude very much. It's a bit freer. It's a little odd, but it is definitely suits my attitude.
How old were you when you decided to dedicate your life to music?
Dedicate my life to music. That's an interesting way to put it. I didn't really make a grand choice like that. I mean, there was one moment. I think I was 19, maybe earlier. And I had to choose between going into a course of astrophysics and mathematics, which is what I was studying at the time, or to be signed by a record label. And I took the advice of my professor, who said, go and get signed by the record label because there's no jobs in physics anyway. So really it was a practical decision. I didn't have any grand ambition to change the world or to... I just, you know, I grew up in a working class family. I had to get some kind of some kind of job and start to make some money, and I was really a practical situation. I took it, and then I built upon that over the years.
And how do you spend your free time aside of writing music or producing videos? I
spend it with my dog. I have a beautiful dog called Pola, who I miss very much. I spend it in the desert. I'm very passionate about the Californian desert, Mojave Desert, which is very close to a beautiful national park called Joshua Tree. I love that. spend days just kind of moving rocks around and digging holes and things like that, and landscaping and but most of my mental energy is, you know, my natural way of thinking is creative, so it's not something that I can avoid, even in just normal life. It's always on, and that can be distracting, but it can also be very productive. So I'm generally always working.
Okay, so we come to the last question. How would you describe yourself using just 3 adjectives?
Okay. Stubborn. Honest. And maybe a little bit of a drama queen as well.
Okay, so that was it from
my
side. Thank you very much.
Thank you.